All right, welcome to TVC Breakfast now. So, as rightly said by Mike, we head into another discussion over a burning issue. This time, President Buhari said earlier in the year in his New Year address that rice imports will end by this year, 2018. He explained the economic recovery and growth plan of his administration has focused on agriculture as a strategic sector. Well, such attention, he says, has enhanced the growing of local rice varieties by Nigerian farmers. He says the money saved from rice importation will be put into the development of infrastructure and the provision of social amenities.
All right, we have joining us a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst, Olusesan Okunade, joining us right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure.
All right, rice. Everyone knows that Nigerians, they love rice.
What will we be without eating rice?
We like rice, and besides all of that, the issue of, okay, the Nigerian jollof rice, the Ghanaian jollof, we have passed through all of those because rice is staple food in Nigeria. Now, in the January 1 broadcast, the president re-emphasized the fact that by the end of 2018, Nigeria will stop the importation of rice. That is just a reaffirmation of what the Minister of Agriculture has said before, that by 2018, Nigeria should stop or would stop the importation of rice. Now, how confident are you from what is on ground, from what you are seeing, that at the end of this year, rice importation will end?
Thank you very much. Like we keep saying, the administration on their part are doing their bits, and they are putting the right thing in place. For once, we are having like a year. The Minister of Agriculture said it last year that by 2018, and the President is reaffirming it. For me, I have the confidence that that is workable. Years back, before this and the administration came in being, we never had anything called rice production the way we are having it. Take, for example, we have the lake rice. I don't know. I enjoyed myself during the Yuletide period by eating lake rice. I told them I don't want to start the gambling of eating rubber rice. I didn't know that the president.
Because that even came at about, you know, the 2016 Christmas.
You understand?
Yeah,
that was the period.
Rice. There was plastic rice here and there.
And I told my family we got to look out for lake rice and celebrate Aknu Umiambo Day by eating the rice. Very nourishing. I can tell you also, a number of states, not Abakaliki rice, has good production of rice now. And if you have these two states taking the bull by the horn, Ogun State is coming up. You know the funniest thing, like I always tell people, I think it's high time they should give room for the chartered accountants to lead this country.
Why is that?
Akinu is an FCA. Ogun State counterpart is an FCA.
Okay.
Willie Obiano is an FCA.
Okay.
These are guys that are taking the bull by the horn.
So we should all become chartered accountants then?
Of course, because we can turn things around overnight. That's just on a light mode. You see, the confidence is there that by 2018, if all mechanisms that are put in place work the way it should be, what government had put in place would definitely take us out of importation of rice. Like we keep saying, this country is too import dependent. Even things that we can produce here, we try as much as possible to go all out to import them. Look at the vast land. I was hearing the interview you granted the military man this morning. We have vast land in this country. 2014, I was out of the country to Israel, and I was dazzled with what I saw with the production of food. I told you years back I don't take watermelon because the taste of watermelon in Nigeria is rubbish. I got there, my wife said, I tried this thing, and I took the watermelon, and from there I fall in love with it. I saw the way and manner they put it. These guys don't even have the kind of land we have. Their land are sandy land, but they did irrigation, they did everything. I know on the part of the government, they are putting some things in place, mechanism type of farming to ease what everybody is doing, but there is a gap. Everybody blames the government. We don't blame ourselves. Everybody wants to do white-collar job. You leave the school, and all you want to do is to get employed. No, get to the farm. As I talk to you, I do little of farming, not to even in a commercial aspect, but to feed myself. I tell my wife, can we get small plot of land, do cassava, harvest it, and do gari for ourselves? Can we do watermelon? Can we do plantain? Not in a commercial
tomatoes and pepper
quantity.
and all of
you know,
those.
just do it in a small quantity. The vegetable I eat, I stay in the village.
But
conserve
can
it.
we all be farmers, really? Can we all be farmers to enhance food security?
The truth of the matter is we can all be farmers.
Well, why do we all need to be farmers? You talked about being chartered accountant. If you're so busy in your bank or busy in the office, as the case may be, what time will you have to really concentrate in the
All you got to do is you don't need to get involved.
Okay.
I told you I do some of those things, but I'm not deeply involved in it.
Okay.
I've created one way or the other an employment avenue. Very low. They don't do so much of things. They come, all they do is beg, give me this, give me, okay, don't worry, we have this, can you go ahead and just get this resolved? Because I looked at what they can do. So that is another way of creating employment. Rather than people coming to queue in front of your house daily, you can tell them, I have these 2 plots of land, can we do this, can we do this? So every one of us can be a farmer. It's not all the...
In one way
or the other. And you can discover that government are putting the mechanized farming in place. Just yesterday, I was in a program where somebody had to come and inform us that Ogun State has given like 10,000 hectares of land looking for individuals to just buy into it. They're already having their rice production too. So imagine if the 3 states that are doing it presently, and we have more states.
No, there are more states. Nasarawa State, we have the Olam rice in Nasarawa State. They're doing wonderful from the reports we got. In Benue State, there are lots
Taraba.
of... Edo State is there. Taraba State is there. They're doing wonderful when it comes to rice as well.
I don't even see us waiting till the end of the year before we start importation.
But you know, for me, I personally love this rice and by extension, the agricultural revolution going on in Nigeria. It couldn't have come at a better time. At least I wonder, I wonder why couldn't we have even, you know, done this in such a radical way earlier. But then I worry because look at the lake rice, for example. We saw the way it came out with a bang. But frankly, you are one of the few people who I realize now, you know, still have access to lake rice, for example, as in Lagos. And so at a point, there was even a kind of like, you know, people say they don't really like it, the quality-wise, taste-wise, you know, and all that. And I feel, I stand to be corrected, though, that maybe the quantity, maybe people are having issues with accessing it. We still see the regular rice, as in the popular rice, the imported rice. We still see it everywhere. Go to parties, we still see it everywhere. There seems to be a problem somewhere in accessing this local rice that they want us to embrace.
You see, all the time I say, people will tell you that government had have an issue. But I don't blame government for anything. We blame ourselves. There is always, you see, until, I've said it times with that number, until we wipe corruption out of it. Corruption is not only with the big shots. It goes deep down. You discover that at times some of these things are moved for the benefit of, you know, the masses. But there are some funny elements who just decide to create artificial scarcity of some of these things we're saying. I'm not saying that the supply, as we speak, has actually outmatched our demand. No. But even the small available ones, we have some people that are taking it out and are rebagging to sell at exorbitant price, not at a control price. So these are some of the challenges we keep emphasizing. Not government, but they won't be everywhere. But it would definitely put some people in place to checkmate these activities. That is where you and I have to rise up. This thing, government has invested in it. If they can, in 2016, they are able to push this right, and it was not hyped. People have it all around. All the local government people are selling. They will still tell you that if you go to some local government, these things are available. But some of these staff decide on their audit, get it at a control price, and sell at exorbitant price. Now, I even learned that they are rebagging it.
Yeah, that would be quite challenging. But the point there is, in the last supply that was sent, you know, before Christmas, and we saw, there were reports that dealers were, you know, encouraged to come forth. And I was driving on one of the streets, and I saw, you know, lake rice displayed at the time, which tells you to a great extent that dealers have now had access where you don't have to go to a government agency to book, or the local government to book to get the rice. Now, dealers have them all over the states. Now, the challenge would be in the issue of rebagging. But why would anybody rebag lake rice? There's rice everywhere. Why do we have to rebag lake rice?
The truth of the matter is the greed in every human being, we allow them to do anything.
Okay,
you just have a simple
Lake
question.
Rice is
Why?
a success story and people like it. Is that the reason?
For me, I don't eat any other rice than lake rice.
Way to go.
That's the truth. I told my wife, if we don't have a lake rice to eat, or we have a friend to send from Anambra, the one they are producing, I want to eat Nigerian rice. Because when you look at what is being posted on the social media daily, you cannot even guarantee all this imported rice. You don't know when you are going to be eating plastic rice. And you would have consumed it before you know. And you know the implication of that to our health. So the truth of the matter is, look at the steps that they've taken. Distributors are getting involved now. Thank you. I appreciate the fact that you're saying you can confirm seeing it being displayed. I heard the news and I saw that is a welcome development. But what we need to do is, I have said it times with that number, let's get the right set of people at the right aim of affair, doing the right thing, and you and I will work for it. Lagos State, for now, have the right set of people working, and that's why we can see it. If you're living in the hands of the politician, my brother, that lake rice will not see the light of the day.
But let's look at, rice infrastructure now. How much is available to, revolutionize totally the rice farming industry in Nigeria? 7.9 million tons now, according to Rice Farmers Association, said to be the total consumption demand. But then we only, barely scratched the surface of 6 million metric tons now of the rice that farmers in Nigeria can produce. Fine, the CBN is coming out with programs to encourage more and more farmers, but then there's still a staggering shortfall.
The truth of it, like I said the other time, is the individual needs to get involved. The era of saying white collar job, I can't be a farmer, should be put aside. If there are mechanisms that have been put in place for us to benefit from some of this thing, you don't need, all you need to do is having this coordinating skill of doing this menial job. There are people who are peasant farmers. What they do all their lifetime is doing this. But you can use your skill as probably a learned person to do it the right way. A guy who is a farmer does not know he has to do this at a time, he has to do this at a time. Put those structure in place. You can discover that a farmer can collect money, and the next thing, once he has little money, all he needs to do is to marry another wife. But a learned person knows that it's going to take him a lot of time before he pays. If government is giving you a loan, you need to have a repayment term, pay back, because you know that integrity is what speaks for you to get another loan. And by the time your attitude towards your loan repayment is good, government will pump in more money. So you discover that professionals should come out not to enslave the farmers now, but to enlighten them and encourage them to grow at par with you. So you have access to the federal government, you have access to government funds. You can take some of these things and take to them until we come out of that attitude of we enslaving ourselves,
but
oppressing ourselves.
Who even has more access to land than government? Fine, we too can do our bit in getting small portions, but what's stopping every other state now, from taking on or going on this large umbrella of the prospects of rice and the gains it can fetch us as a nation? It's just 3 months. That's what the farmer says. Just 3 months to plant and harvest rice after all.
What I'm saying is, government have the land, but government won't do the job. Government is not a person. It's just what we used to call individuals coming together to direct us. So if government have the land, they need people like you and I to access those facilities and make it work. At times, myself and my friend, we fight it all, everything, government. I said, okay, where does government resides? They say Alausa. I said, okay, go and bring the man out for me. Or you say Asoro. But these are individuals. One government will go, another will come. What I feel we need to do to actualize this, and not just only in agriculture, we are doing wonderfully well in agriculture, is to make sure that we all assess all this. And we should take out the greed nature in every man. When you are going into some of this business, it's not to oppress the other party. It's not to come and make them to worship you. All you got to do is to encourage them, Be at the level ground with you. If you encourage a farmer to do what is needful and you plan his life with him, you transform his life, the guy that is not doing it right can see that it's improving. I'm telling you, there will be more productivity.
Okay, now in the success story of rice so far, from the reports we're getting here and there, and it seemed really likely that rice sufficiency will be achieved to a great extent. Yeah. But when we have the rice where we don't have to import anymore to the level where we have enough, which is more beneficial to Nigeria? Now, is it the issue of having sufficiency and then we no longer import, or is it for the objective of exportation to get foreign currency, which is more beneficial to the economy?
Talking from the perspective of economy, I believe is when you are alive, you can take the bold step of the next stage.
Okay.
Let's eat and be satisfied before we think of any foreign currency. Those years back that we were pursuing foreign currency, we saw where it landed us. Dollar increased, skyrocketed to anywhere. Let every citizen in the country, that's what is obtainable in countries like China, US, the European country. They first make sure that their citizens are comfortable. When they are comfortable, it's when you have excess. You just start a small business now, and the next thing you are looking at is how you want to start borrowing people money, when you yourself, you don't have enough capital to do. So I feel, you see, the law of demand and supply will take its shape. As soon as we are all comfortable, we all say that there is need, there is wastage. Rather than we wasting this, can we just take this, our rice, out and import to Cotonou? I'm not talking of, take it to Cotonou, take it to Ghana, and let them compete with other rice from other countries. But first and foremost, I'm not looking at any foreign currency. I don't need foreign currency to buy pepper in the market. We just use that at international trade level. But let every Nigerian be comfortable, eat. You see, when you eat and you are comfortable, you think right.
So was the government being hasty in importing yams? Because of the time, if you notice now, we're not seeing enough of these essential commodities in circulation at the time. Rumors were rife that perhaps they had sent them, people had sent them over, imported our yams, imported our foodstuffs now over to...
Exporting
now to neighboring countries.
Because I was going to say, importing yams into Nigeria with...
Exporting rice, yam, I should say. Now, was the government a bit hasty there in exporting our yams? Why not, feed the nation first in your calculation?
For people like me, in fact, exporting the yam is a good development. I don't eat yam as compared to rice.
But we all do eat yams.
We eat yam, but not as we consume rice. We know we can use yam in diverse ways. Right. The consumption of yam, let me tell you, I did a research on this and I discovered that Nigeria had the best variety of yam in the world that can earn us good income, and not everyone consumes. In fact, the most part of the country that consumes that are the Ekiti people. They want to eat pounded yam.
You've not gone to Benue,
right? I'm a yam lover. I'm a yam lover myself.
You understand? But when you put the percentage, rice and yam, you can comfortably say, let's export some of this thing and get some income. Right. You can't say you want to export tomato now that we need to prepare pepper to eat the rice. These are some of the things we need to do. They are not in hasty in doing that for yam. Because at that point in time, I want to believe that the Minister of Agriculture observed that we have some excess for us to push out. We get yam everywhere, every day. But you cannot compare it with the consumption of rice. Right.
Well, the point there is, a lot of analysts have said, instead of getting the yams raw in the States and just exporting, there are lots of things that can be gotten on the chain of yam, because you can get starch from it, you can get other, kind of things, pharmaceuticals even from yam. Now, we have heard, when it comes to rice, we have heard reports of some businessmen exporting and smuggling the Nigerian rice into neighboring countries. How challenging would that be when we are looking forward to sufficiency?
The truth of the matter is we need to challenge those at the aim of affair of controlling our borders. Our borders, thank God it has improved a bit, but it's still porous. The high and mighty are having their way to do what they like. And like I said, somebody that is exporting the rice that is not sufficient is greedy. That's greed. That's corruption at the highest order. Because that thing was produced for the consumption of the masses, not to export yet. But because the guy is influential,
that agenda will be government just doing his own thing. The other people are just businessmen who want to,
make profit.
An average businessman in this country is greedy. He's self-centered. All he's after is to increase his capital base all the time.
And make profit.
When you make profit and the neighbors around you are not enjoying themselves, you are in danger. So I think what every businessman should first think of, that's where the idea of saying CSR, social responsibility, because if you are making money in an environment and the people are not happy with you, you are not safe. You are not safe. So a businessman that feels that he wants to just make money, takes the money and he exports the rice to make more money. Tomorrow, you will not have the rice to export again. Because those guys around you that are not benefiting for it will gang up and deal with you.
Well, let me push this in now before I model my import exportation meaning again now. Talking about imported rice now, the president, of course, and the agencies will now take that up now in banning imported rice this year. But then another way of looking at it in some quarters is that are we not putting unnecessary value directly and indirectly on imported rice? Shouldn't the campaign now be all about lover rice, eater rice? As in what will be the realities now of a ban on imported rice? Won't we still see it in circle? Won't we see people loving the imported rice somehow?
The issue there is simple. When you put a ban on it, the supply to the country reduces and the price goes up. Then we leave it into the hands of the high and mighty. Let them be eating the imported rice. Right. Then it will not be affordable for masses like us to buy. So venturing into the business of bringing imported rice into the country is already discouraged. Because, you have just few elites that will be consuming the rice. So for me saying, love the rice, eat the rice, buy the rice, no. Once you ban that one, once there is no substitute, definitely you eat the ones that you have.
Well, we have heard, you just said not long that our borders are porous. And we have a lot, in fact, customs have given us reports of how trucks and trucks and trucks of rice have been smuggled into this country. A lot of them have been seized and directed to IDP camps as the case may be. So we've had that report. So whether we have sufficiency in local rice, the concept of smuggled rice from different parts of the world will still be there.
The issue is, one, there is no market for it. It gets reduced. That's one basic issue. Once there is no demand for something, it's not just rice. Every issue, people can venture in. Do you know some people go into business when the business has collapsed? I learned of so many people running into production of pure water. When some people have built several houses with pure water business, you discover that when there are no demand for a particular thing, if you go into it, nobody will explain things to you before you backed out. So the issue of let them put the ban on it so that we all know that we don't need to eat imported rice. And what we all need is to think outside the box, encourage this. If we can succeed with rice, I know there are other agricultural, food stuff that will be encouraged, to be produced in the country. I want a situation like I gave my experience when I went to Israel to see where we have some of our fruits. Let me tell you, we have a fertile land. We have a very fertile land. When I came back then and I met some of these Israelis, they said, if we have 10% of the kind of, land that you have, men will be great. These guys do some of their farming on irrigation. So you can imagine, you just drop a seed as you are going on the way. Your child drop a seed in your compound if it's not, with interlock or anything. Before you know it, the thing start germinating without anyone nurturing it.
Soil, we have a good soil.
Very good soil. Yeah. So all we need to do is every aspect of this country is blessed for agricultural products to grow. So what you and I need to tap into is to make sure that we utilize that blessing from God, the gift of nature in your small way. Like I told you, The little thing that we are putting together, I'm not doing it for commercial purpose. But I know in the last 1 year, I've not bought Gary in the open market.
This is what you now grew, thanks to your farm now. You know.
Well, do we have to be chartered accountants to have that done?
Oh no! Don't get him started. Don't even get him started.
Don't go into that because,
don't get him
like
started.
I keep saying, probably the chartered accountants will take the lead for others to follow. The 3 people that are taking the lead now are chartered accountants.
All right now, but of course you've already expressed concern, you know, at smuggling, the spate of smuggling. But then kudos to customs. Customs said they saved Nigeria 1.07 trillion naira, seizing more than 420 trailers of imported
smuggled
rice. Smuggled rice, and then they had to, you know, donate a large part now to the IDPs, of course, who, you know, need them. But then it gives you a sense now, you know, of the lingering challenge they have now in, you know, managing this haulage now, you know, and curbing people from still smuggling rice in.
But sorry to cut that area. Do you think someone that has seized his rice and donated to IDP without making money will want to venture into that business again? The guy has lost money. He has lost good money. Because the essence of doing that business during that season is to make quick money. Look at during the fuel crisis. We had issues where DPR will enter into some filling station and sell fuel for free.
Exactly.
Because they are selling at exorbitant price.
You said you don't have fuel, you are hoarding it, so when we come in, why not give it free?
So when you discover that if I bring in this, customers are stepping up their games to seize and give to people freely, nobody will go into such business. That is why I said, well, for the custom, they will up their games. And once we discourage that as a border, and you and I have the access to this local made rice, then you discover that everybody will want to celebrate it. I encourage everyone. I'm making arrangement to see how I can have access to other state rice. Ogun State, as soon as they produce their own, I'm going to talk to my fellow colleague. Let me have a taste of it
it's
and
even
compare.
there already. The Meteors, the Meteors rice.
Yeah.
It's available already.
So compare that to Lake Rice. Compare it to the one I'm having in Anambra. So if Lake Rice is not available, Abakaliki rice is there, Ofada rice is there. So you just discover that you have variety.
Walk into the regular market, you know, to your regular rice and foodstuff vendor, and okay, you just see an array of rice from all over Nigeria.
An area I want us to walk about is distribution and marketing.
Right.
And that is where you can call government. Those things are done by individuals, not government. Government have done their bit in producing. So
but
you now need...
Even in this sufficiency we're talking about, we see from all the things we've mentioned here, it wasn't the federal government we were mentioning.
Yeah.
It's the state governments. Lagos State started by going in collaboration with KB State. Yeah. The one you're talking about, Abakaliki rice, is by Ebonyi State. The Anambra one is by Anambra State. The Ogun one is by Ogun State. Benue, the same thing. Nasarawa, okay, fine. The Nasarawa State, the Olam rice we talked about is a private company. Now, in all of this, do you think the sufficiency we are talking about is really in the hands of state governments?
Yeah, that's what we keep telling people, that governance is not about the federal. Federal is just to coordinate things and distribute what is needful. But the states and the local government need to be empowered because they are the closer people to the masses. Today, Lagos State is able to take care of its citizens and they are all happy. Ogun is able to take care of its citizens and they are happy. Ebonyi is able to do that. Anambra is able to do that. Before you know it, why do I need to rush all the way from Enugu State to come to Lagos when I know there are good things for me to do in my state? So I keep telling individuals that it's not about federal government, but everybody taking possession of what they can do in their state to make their citizen more comfortable. If Lagos State is not habitable for you, go to your state. And I know several people that are living in Lagos. You know, I keep sharing it with individuals. In the next probably 5-10 years, you won't know the difference between Lagos and Ogun. Because we are all already, you know, interwoven at every border. So if things, by the time Lagos and Ogun cannot be extinct in the next future, then if Lagos is too congested for us, several people that stays in Ogun State claim they stays in Lagos. Somebody who is staying at Imota is still under Lagos. But the guy is in Ogun. He has to drive about 4 hours a day.
Even as close as Moe or Akute.
Moe, Akute.
Right.
Exactly.
Those guys are in Ogun.
Because, and
But
Ota.
then we're so...
Exactly.
You know,
So interwoven
but
with
Lagos
Lagos.
is just a foot away.
But everybody wants to claim the status of Lagos.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
God for Ogun State counterpart that is now saying, okay, you have to pay your taxes Ogun because you reside here.
Exactly.
Enough of you saying, some people will write Adodo, Lagos. Where is Adodo? Who is in Ota? To be in Lagos. So you
But
discover
that's just
that
people wanting to identify
with
you
Lagos.
with the
But
success
if
of
there are
Lagos.
development in your state, for Christ's sake, you have to identify with the state. You want to identify with your state and celebrate. So for
Okay.
you to go all land to buy land in Ogun State, then you know that you have to claim, you know, the ownership that my address
and pay
is
your
Ogun.
taxes
And be a
there.
proud now, be a proud resident. I
I
proudly
stays in
live
Ogun State.
in Ogun State,
Exactly.
and let it be a spiral that will reverberate
To go to other
around,
states.
the country.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Olusesan Okwade, chartered accountant, and he's leading the way for us to follow when it comes to self-sufficiency in food.
Yeah,
He has
proud farmer too.
proud farmer. He's been making gari for himself. The past
Right,
1
right,
year, he
right,
hasn't bought gari from the market.
Right.
Thank you so
Brilliant,
much for
brilliant.
coming.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Right.